Welcome to another episode of Trending Tidbits, the Daily Scoop. And we are going to talk about schools today. The education system is very challenged in the United States right now. There are certain towns have districts where there are, even though it's against a lot of state constitutions, or at least one that I know of, they do it anyway, where property taxes pay for the schools. So well-to-do neighborhoods have stellar public schools, and there's competition. But rich people will buy up houses in that area just to send those kids to those schools. Whereas on the other side of the tracks, sometimes not even the other side of the tracks, in perfectly fine cities, this public school system is awful. And sometimes they have a lottery system so to prevent this sort of property tax related, location related issues. But then the governance is challenged and the school system is just awful. And everyone wants to send their kids to private school who have the money to do so. That latter part is the challenge. So what else is happening then is there are a lot of religious private schools. And especially once you get to the high school level, there is a lack of secular private schools in a lot of the parts of the country. And so one of the things we looked into is towns that actually went out of their way to increase the number of secular private schools, either by making it easier to start a private school or making incentives for private schools to do business there or move there or open satellite locations there. And we're talking physical location private schools. It somehow correlates to an increase in the public school quality. So we're going to dive into this. To make a long story short, what kind of makes things happen is in towns that only have one or two secular private schools, especially when you get to the high school level, the lack of competition makes those schools kind of fluffy. So there aren't any good options in a lot of towns in the United States for gifted, well-to-do students whose parents want to do what it takes to make sure they're tomorrow's future leaders. So what some research has shown is these towns that increase the number of secular private schools, mainly through incentives to encourage the opening of more secular private schools, suddenly there's competition amongst the private schools and they up their game. Now, here's the thing. Once they up their game, there is somehow a trickle, it's not a trickle down, it's a trickle sideways effect to the public school system. Because now there's competition. There's competition, and they're not just floating by just hitting the standards. Things happen, and students throughout the community get elevated once you see an increase in competition, or rather, I should say, an increase in options for parents to be able to send their kids to secular, meaning non-religious, private schools, especially private high schools. Now, one town in particular, Champaign, Illinois, suffers from all the above horribly. Sorry to call you out, Champaign, Illinois, but Champaign, Illinois is, even though it's got one of the greatest universities in the nation, it has quite possibly, in my humble opinion, one of the most awful school systems in the nation, in the terms of a terrible public school system that's on a lottery system and almost no options in competition in the secular private school option. If you're listening to this and you want to make a quick buck, open a private school in Champaign, Illinois. You'll be golden. Anyways, so now let's discuss the topic at hand. But before we get into this, Zara Blaze and the Rhythm Wranglers, a group that you may or may not have heard of. They've been creating a bit of a buzz along the same time as Beyonce released her country album. Zara Blaze released one around the same time, and there is some Excitement building. So, luckily for us, Zara Blaze and the Rhythm Wranglers have done a song on this topic for us.
Public schools, that's where it begins. But in America's school, a competition gets thin. Secular private schools, a rarity to find. Leaving the fight, leaving the fight, leaving the education system behind. No competition means a lack of drive. When choices are few, how will they thrive? Innovation suffers, creativity's bound. Secular private schools, we need them all around. Oh, we need some change, we need some hope. Secular private schools help us cope. Let's break the mold, give our kids a fair chance. Competition breeds success. Let's enhance.
That was Zara Blaze and the Rhythm Wranglers. Let's definitely go check them out and support them on Spotify. Independence needs support. All right, so now let's get to the meat. How an increase in number of secular private schools correlates to an increase in public school quality. So in recent years, the increase in secular private schools has sparked discussions about their impact on public school quality. So this episode aims to provide an analytical perspective on the correlation between the rise of secular private schools and the improvement of public school quality. By examining the factors contributing to this correlation, potential drawbacks, and strategies to mitigate negative impacts, we can gain a deeper understanding of the complex dynamics at play in the education sector. One of the key factors contributing to the correlation between an increase in secular private schools and public school quality is the competition for students. As private schools attract students with their specialized programs and smaller class sizes, public schools are incentivized to improve their performance to retain students. This competition can drive public schools to enhance their educational offerings and overall quality to remain attractive to students and parents. Additionally, public schools may adopt successful practices from private schools, such as innovative teaching methods or curriculum designs, leading to an overall improvement in the quality of education provided in the public sector. Moreover, increased resources allocated to public schools to compete with private schools can result in better infrastructure, technology, and educational resources for all students. Despite the potential benefits, the rise of secular private schools can also have a few drawbacks on public school quality. One major concern is the drain of resources from public schools to private schools, as students opt for private education. Public schools may face budget cuts and reduced funding. Doubtful in most communities, though. Impacting their ability to provide quality education for all students. This disparity in funding and resources can create educational inequality, with public schools in underserved areas facing greater challenges in delivering high-quality education. Furthermore, public schools may struggle to retain high-performing students and teachers, leading to a talent drain that can further affect the overall quality of education in the public sector. To mitigate the negative impact of the rise in secular private schools on public school quality, various strategies can be implemented. One approach is to implement policies that ensure an equitable distribution of resources between public and private schools, addressing the funding disparities that contribute to educational inequality. Additionally, encouraging collaboration between public and private schools for knowledge sharing can help bridge the gap in educational practices and innovations, strengthening public school systems by investing in teacher training, curriculum development, and infrastructure upgrades. All this can also help public schools remain competitive in the face of increased private school enrollment. Bottom line, though, townships should do what it takes to make sure there are more secular private schools. So the correlation between the increase in secular private schools and the improvement of public school quality is a complex issue with both positive and negative implications, mostly positive if you ask me. While competition and resource allocation can drive public schools to enhance their performance, the drain of resources and talent to private schools poses challenges for public school quality. But townships can implement strategies to guard for this. And I think, like Champaign, Illinois, what happens is most towns will benefit from greater competition. I mean, for example, there should not be only one or two private high schools for an entire town. So if you were in the business of owning a private school or ever wanted to start one, I mean, now's the time to do your research on towns that have less than a few secular private schools. And again, we did the research for you, man. Pick out Champaign, Illinois, and open yourselves a private high school. You will be golden. Let's close this episode out with another tune about this topic from Zara Blaze and the Rhythm Wranglers.
Public schools, that's where it begins. But in America, a competition gets thin. Secular private schools are rarity to find, leaving the education system behind. No competition means a lack of drive when choices are few. How will they thrive? Innovation suffers, creativity's bound. Secular private schools, we need them all.